Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rizano, and this is the Affiliate Party Podcast. Now, episode 66, we're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about making your emails not so spamtastic. But first, now, in the next, today's September. In the next couple months, I got an email yesterday from Anchor. They was talking about, do a ad about voting and all that stuff. So it might be a new ad pop up. Don't worry, it's just about voting. We won't air this commercial every time, maybe once or twice a week. I guess it is important, of course. We should all been voting. We should all vote every time since we turn 18. But of course, some of us don't. Some of us do. But I guess they want to get the word out. Every 4 years, for some reason, all of a sudden they like, you gotta vote. You gotta vote. You gotta vote. You should really focus on voting more on the city level, because more of the where you live, the city, the state. That has more effect on you than the actual. Who's the president? Let's all be honest with each other. And of course, you don't want to see your president doing this, doing that, if that's what you don't like. But to live in the city, I live in Atlanta. I'm more worried about what the mayor says than what the president says, because that's where I live on a daily basis. So, but anyway, enough about civics. Let's talk about relationships. Every now and then I listen to a podcast called the TED Radio Hour, and they were discussing relationships yesterday, and I found it to be very interesting. And they was talking about how people get married, and then they searching for. People get married and people get into these relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever relationship you might be in, and then they expect everything from one person. They expect this, that, and the other. And a lot of times, eventually, that stuff, either the person that has the high expectations, they see that the person can't give them everything, and then they go, well, I gotta find somebody else that can give me everything, and then they break up or whatever, they divorce or whatever. Or the person that has a high expectations of that somebody puts on their back, they just can't do it, and they might go through escapism and start cheating, or start self-medicating or whatever. But I wasn't thinking about relationships in that way. I was thinking about relationships as far as like doing business with somebody. How because when you start off and of course starting a business, most of the time it might be you, it might be one other person, but then eventually it's gonna grow, and it's gonna things are gonna change, and you're gonna have to get more people involved, and you're gonna have to have relationships with these people. Now, I'm not saying you have to be drinking buddies, or you have to surround yourself with the same people every day, but there are going to be people that you have to know. There are going to be people that you have to trust, and when it comes to doing your business, because eventually when you want to scale up, you want to move up in the world, you can't sit there and watch. You don't want to sit there and spend 24 hours 7 days a week on your business. You still have to take a break. You still have to do things, but you want the business to still be up and running. So how do you build trust? How do you build relationships in this virtual world? Because a lot of people, they don't like to talk on the phone. So that's one thing. I know last week, it's funny, we talked about picking up the telephone and calling people. And I think in this kind of business, even though we're doing a lot of things online, I think you still have to communicate via the phone. Texting can get misconstrued so easily. I got a friend. I text him maybe about an article, and he'll text me about a YouTube video, but we never discuss anything via text. I guess maybe because our relationship started in 1999, 1999, you know. We was in the Navy together, and I don't know, maybe our relationship started back then before, you know, texting and all that kind of stuff, but it would be weird if I was just sitting there texting him. I know my mom sometimes, she wants to text me, and I'm like, please don't text me. You've been my mother since 1979. You can just pick up the phone and call me. That's okay, you know. My brother, he likes to text, but I just know how. But I know my brother, and we shared a room together since from 1979 to 1997. We shared a room, so I know him on the deeper. I know him probably more than I know, you know, besides my wife. Now I probably know my brother more than I know anybody else, just because we share so much space together. And even after I moved out of the house, when I got out the Navy, we decided to be roommates again for a year. So me and my brother lived together as adults. So, you know, he can text me, and he can text me. I don't have. I probably wouldn't. I could pick up the phone and call him once a month or twice a month, and we still would have the same deep bond that we have, just because we spent so much time together, you know. And it's like, even my wife, whenever my wife gets annoyed at me, because sometimes I can be kind of annoying, and my wife gets annoyed, and she won't say nothing for a day. We'll talk, and then I can tell she's annoyed, and then she won't text me anything, and then the next day she'll always call and tell me, you know, or, you know, she'll just say the next day, she'll go, I was very annoyed at you yesterday. I'm very annoyed at you right now, you know. Especially if I'm on the road, she'll say, you know, I was very annoyed at you yesterday, and I'm still kind of annoyed, and then she'll tell me why, and then, of course, we work through it, you know. But relationships and business, I have, you know, everything's on the, you know, on the fringe of my, you know, business relationships. Like, I went down to the bank and got a you know, business account open a while ago. I have a relationship with the bank, you know. They say, if you need anything, let us know, you know. They send me letters, they send me stuff, I call them, you know. I have questions, you know. This is a growing relationship. Now, of course, because eventually they talked to me about merchant account, and I said, well, not now, but eventually I'm going to need a merchant account, and I'm probably going to. They say you should get more than one, just in case, because a lot of times you never know about these banks, you never know about these places. If you have like a book that you sell, and the book all of a sudden takes off, and a lot of people are buying the book, and sometimes the bank, they go, why are all these people giving you money? What's going on? And they might put a stop and a freeze to that stuff. So be careful with these merchant accounts, all right? But yeah, I have a growing relationship with the bank, and just different people when you're starting off in this business. It's just like, I'm gonna have a relationship with a producer sooner than later of this podcast. This podcast is growing. This podcast is, we're in episode 66, and my goal is to grow it, and you know, once a week do these quick, you know, podcasts. But in the next few months, my goal is to have one guest a week. You know, me interview somebody and talk about, you know, what they have going on, what they doing, and things like that, to give you more, you know, to give you more. I want to give you more in this podcast. So even you and I have a relationship that is growing. You and I are having a relationship that we are building, you know. I don't expect you to be like, oh, I love this guy so much, I just want to, you know. But whenever I do a podcast now, I have more of my focus is not about, you know, me doing a podcast every day. More of the focus is, what can I bring to you? What can I say to you to help you out, to help you grow your business? Because at the end of the day, this is a relationship. We are in a relationship. So congratulations. It's me and you. Okay, and my job is to not say, oh, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have a business. Of course not. My goal is to help you. You know, my my goal is to help you see that you can create something for yourself as well. Because sometimes we all get, like, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do that? And the answer is, of course. It's just sometimes it's just how bad do you want to do it, or how to get started. Sometimes is the problem. It's a lot of things. But really, we are in a relationship. And eventually, I'm going to be in a relationship with the producer of this podcast. And when I start doing the YouTube, and I want somebody to do, because I'm not going to do the end screens and all that kind of stuff. And eventually, I'm going to have a relationship with a assistant of, somebody that can do, tags and all that for the YouTube, and I'm going to have a relationship with a person that can, because I like to write, but editing, I'm okay with it, but I'm okay with it, but I'd rather just write, and then, of course, I look at it, do a little editing, then I give it to somebody else, they do some editing, so I want to have a relationship with that. There's a lot of relationships that you have to build when you want to start a business, and I'm not talking no flimsy, fly by night, get in, get out, let's make some quick money business. No, I want a sustainable business. I want a business that, is around for a long time, and I hope you want the same thing. So you have to have these relationships. You have to grow these relationships. Now, one thing that I've learned over the years is everybody's not going to give you the same thing that you're going to give them. You might everybody's not going to be everything to you. Some people are going to be good at this, some people are going to be good at that. Some relationships are going to last, some relationships are not going to last. But you just have to realize that, know that, don't take offense when these relationships don't last. Like, of course, we've all had a person that we know, like, from high school. Like, I had a best friend in high school. His name was Jonathan. Jonathan was my best friend. He was more than my best friend. He was my brother. I love the guy. I still love the guy, don't get me wrong. But we became adults. I don't know. He sort of stopped growing. He wanted to do other things, He wanted to, smoke and drink and all this kind of stuff. I mean, we've all had this kind of story, So he wanted to do this kind of stuff, and me myself, I want to do more. I want to do more than that. I want to go, a couple places. I like to go out to nice restaurants. I like to read books. I just want to, relax and be with my wife. That's the path I want to be on, So we're on two different paths. So even though we see each other once every 5 years now, it's not the same. I don't call the guy, The relationship is pretty much over with. And I thought, if you would have told me when I was 21, if you would have told me I was 18, 21, that me and this guy wouldn't talk on a regular basis, I'd say I would have told you to get the F out of here, And it made me sad when I thought about it one day, because when I got married, I thought about him, and I said, we used to talk about how he's going to be the best man at my wedding and how I was going to be the best man at his wedding, but he didn't even get an invitation, but it did make me kind of sad. But I thought, you know what? Every road doesn't lead to the lake. Every road doesn't go 1,000 miles, you know what I mean? I give you a better example. The interstate system. We have I-40. I-40 goes from California to North Carolina. Even when you start off in California, Barstow, California, matter of fact, I'll give you from Barstow, California. One of the first signs you say when you get on I-40 in Barstow, it says Wilmington, North Carolina. And I think it's like 2,600 miles, something like that. That's quite a long road. Every road's not going to be that long. Every road's not going to be that long, Every road's not gonna lead to life ending things, you know. So every relationship is gonna be different. Every business relationship is gonna be different. You just have to take them, embrace them, learn from them. You know, get all the knowledge you can out of them while you can, and then if they don't last, don't be upset. Don't get. I know it's hard to say, but you can't get emotional about everything. You just have to move on and take what you learned and, you know, keep pushing. But you want to, you know, give your all in all these relationships, because that's, you know, a business relationship is, you know, relationships are the foundation of life, you know. And you want to make sure that you're giving your best in all these relationships, no matter how short they may be. And of course, you know, some relationships are going to be very short. You know, some people you're going to meet in one. Some people you're going to meet, and it's going to be like a comet. It's going to come and go, you know. I remember one of the weirder relationships I had. I'll tell you a little story before we move on to the email. I could sit here and talk about relationships with you all day, but one of the relationships that I had that I think about every now and then, it's quite funny. I met this young lady. I was in the Navy. I met this young lady on the train, on the San Diego trolley, and met. You know, got a phone number. It's so funny. This is when I started realizing that every relationship ain't gonna last. You know what I mean? She was nice or whatever, and we talked on the phone. We talked, of course, you know, when you first meet somebody in a not in a business. Now we're talking about personal relationship. You know, in a personal relationship, somebody that you're attracted to in a, you know, in an intimate way, in a sexual way, I guess, however you want to put it. Of course, you know, you first meet them. You know, it's the greatest thing. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So, of course, we was on the phone 6 hours, blah 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 blah. You know, and I remember she was like, "Oh, I love you so much." And I'm like, "Oh, I only known this girl for a week," you know. But anyway, in a week, she's like, "I love you so much. I can't wait. I want to be with you forever." And I was like, "Really?" And you know, I'm surprised because, you know, this has never happened to me before. But she was just really, you know, gassing me up. And then I had to go out to sea, and I was telling her, you know, I'm going out to sea, and she was like, "I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna write you all the time." Blah 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 blah. You know. And then I remember I told my friend Ricky, I said, "Man, I got me a girl. When I come back, man, she's gonna be on the pier and everything." You know. We pull out to sea. I'm thinking I'm in the greatest relationship ever. A week later, I could tell. I was like, "Oh man, I don't know." And then a week later, I got a dear John, this ain't gonna work. I gotta move on with my life. Thank you. And then that day, I learned, man, these relationships, they can go high quick. They can come down even faster. So embrace every relationship, every business relationship. Some relationships in business are gonna last, some ain't. Just like this podcast. You might enjoy this podcast for a few months, and then you might go, "You know what? I'm tired of hearing this guy's voice." Some people are gonna listen for a long time. Some people like it's just how it goes. But after this commercial break, we're going to discuss emails. You know, how to avoid spammy emails. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. First segment. Quite a long segment, eh? No. Relationships. You know, they're very... And like I said, though, to close it out, business relationship, personal relationships, some gonna last, some won't. You just have to take it all with a grain of salt. But anyway, now we're going to get to the next subject. We are going to get to how to avoid being in the spam box. Now, you signed up for the Get Response. If you haven't signed up for one, you should sign up for one. You sign up for one of these email autoresponders. You get an email list. You write your email list. And then you figure out, why am I falling into the spam inbox? Now, to continue the conversation I had with my wife about her 10,000 person email list, and she said a lot of her emails go to the spam. I said, because you must be doing a lot of, hey, buy this, buy that, discounts, all this kind of stuff. If you want to avoid if you want to avoid going into the spam box too often, one thing you have to do, email on a regular. If you email daily, you got a good chance of not being in the spam box. And also, if you don't want to end up in the spam box, what you have to do is don't sound like a salesman. You want to sound like you're talking to a friend. I know we talked about this before, but repetition. If we keep doing repetition, I mean, we brush our teeth every day. Some of these things we have to discuss quite often. But if you just write like you're talking to a friend, and you don't, always talk about this, that, and the other, pay, money, you don't sound like a salesman, your emails will go right into the email inbox. When I first started emailing, a lot of my emails are going right into the spam, right into the spam box, because it sounded like I was selling shoes, a lot of this, a lot of that, because I didn't know what I was really doing. Then I started studying up on emails and how to get better with emails, and I started doing more just conversational emails. Then at the end, I would tie it in with the call to action, or a CTA. I would tie it in with that, and then those emails were actually going into the email box, and people was actually clicking on the link and opening up the link. Hot diggity damn. But no, you just want to make sure that your emails are not you don't want to make your email sound too spammy. And one thing that GetResponse has, if you ever you get into the email autoresponder, they have a thing that you can, after you write the email, they have a button that you can hit, and it'll show you how it looks. It's like a spam meter. It tells you how much spam they think your email is, and will it go into the email spam, somebody's spam folder. So you can look at that, and then they have another thing that it'll show you how it looks on Gmail, Yahoo, all that kind of stuff. So definitely check those two things out. And if it looks too spammy, then just go back, try to rework it, and just make it conversational. Make it, like I told you yesterday, just get you imagine somebody and talk to them like you're talking to, a colleague or a friend or whatever, You just want to make it real conversational. You don't want to make it too, hey, buy one, get one now, I mean, of course, And then if you want to lead them to a sales page, you write the email and then lead them to a sales page or something like that. But you definitely just don't want to be like, sales in the email, because a lot of people, they will flag your email, or they will say, oh no, this guy's spamming me, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, I don't care about, of course, people are going to unsubscribe. Listen, I wrote on my website, I put, when you sign into this email, you will receive daily emails or weekly emails. So don't act shocked. I don't know if that's the exact wording, but I put sign up and you will receive daily or weekly emails. People will still see this. People will sign up still, and then people will complain that you email them too much. And if people complain about you emailing them too much, you don't care. Just keep emailing. Sometimes, if you have something that you really want to, say you go on the not the Craigslist. What's the name of that? ClickBank. You go on ClickBank and somebody has a 3-day sale and you want to be an affiliate for them for 3 days. And sometimes you just want to pump emails out to your list. Say if you have a list of 1,000 people, and you're like, I really want to win this, because on ClickBank, certain people, if you're an affiliate for their program or their product they sell, you can win prizes and everything like that. And if you're like, I really want to win this prize, and it's a weekend, and you just email them Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You email them like 3-4 different times, and people say, you emailing me too much. Don't worry about that. Just email them, man. If somebody complains about you emailing them too much, Don't even worry about it. They can unsubscribe. Get off my damn list. Unsubscribe. If you don't like it, get out. That's it. I remember one day I wrote an email. I remember one Friday just to get people off my email list. I wrote 4 emails in one day, and I said they either gonna open these emails or they gonna unsubscribe. One of the two. But at the end of the day, the purpose of email is to move them in, move them out. You know, I mean, you want people to stick around, of course. You want to build relationships, but some people you don't want them there. Some people they just gonna sit there, you know, and sort of be stagnant. You're here to help people, but I mean, if you send somebody 1,000 emails, they never open up one. It's like, come on, I mean, get off my list, you know, delete or they'll unsubscribe, one of the two. So, but just make sure you're making your emails conversational. Make sure that your emails are not so spammy. You want to avoid that. And if you email every day, you know, you'll get better with the email. And like I told you before, don't think that you have to, you know, be a grand wizard. Just come up with you have your own story. You know, we all have different things that happen to us, and you can relate just about anything to, you know, anything that happened to you in your life. You can relate to business and whatever you're trying to do. I mean, just look at the last segment. I mean, I told you about a girl I met I knew the girl for a month, and she made it into the podcast. So there you go. So anything you can, you know, let's talk about relationships and how, you know, some roads are short, and that was a short road. So you can tie almost anything into a business, you know. And like I told you, get you a notebook of ideas, and whenever you're watching a movie, whenever you're reading a book, whenever you're doing something, jot these notes down and use these notes later on, you know. And trust me, it'll come in handy, because you turn off the consuming hat, turn on the business hat, and it will help you. It will help you come along. It has helped me quite a bit, quickly, you know. But anyway, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. My name is Tony Rizzano. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I'll say that more tomorrow. But anyway, my name is Tony Rizzano. This is episode 66. This is the Affiliate Party Podcast, and we will talk to you tomorrow. And as always, everybody, peace.